Hello and welcome to Memphis Like Gas and Water's 6th ice storm update press conference. I'm Gail Jones-Carson, the Vice President of Community and External Affairs. I want to thank each of you for being here with us to make sure that we share as much information as possible about the 2022 ice storm. Today, our guests on the panel are MLGW President and CEO, J.T. Young, MLGW Chief Operating Officer and Senior Vice President, Alonzo Weaver. And we also have Alenia Cole with the city with us, but she's having some audio problems, so she may be in and out. And then we also have Brenda Jones with us. She's the Emergency Management Director for Shelby County. And Brenda has some good news to share with us today. Then I'll also have some information regarding the Department of Human Services and the services that they have available for customers. So, Mr. President, do you want to get started?
Certainly. Thank you, Gail. I want to say welcome to those of you who have been able to join us today. I want to give you a brief update on where we are with our restoration process. We continue to move forward, continue to make progress. We see that and know this continues to be very taxing on customers who have yet to be restored. We, as you know, had an extensive amount of damage caused by the storm, and we are working as quickly as safely as possible to get everyone back on. Give you just a little bit of an overview. Alonzo will probably dig into a little bit more detail, but just from a high level, we are now down to the point where we have, by this evening, we believe we'll be between 20 and 25,000 still without power by this evening. We believe that we are still on track for our end of the week restoration of those who can take power, and we're going to make sure that we've been trying to give enough information to folks who may have challenges with their own services to make sure they get those things corrected so we can get power to them. So I say that to say it's certainly been a grueling last 6 days, and a lot of hard work and a lot of community cooperation has been going on. So we're grateful for that. But certainly want to make sure that we address issues, questions, concerns, and I'll be glad to take your questions here as soon as we get started. With that, I'm turning over to you, Alonzo.
Thank you, Mr. Young. I'll ask whoever's controlling the presentation to pull up just a couple of slides for me. The stages of restoration, I believe this is the slide I want. So as I've said before, we're now at the point where we're working on fuses, fuse taps. These are lines that come off the main circuit line that go into neighborhoods and blocks. Some of them can have a large number of people on them. Some can have a small number of people on them. But we're working through those. There are quite a few of them. When we started out with over 800 of them, affecting some 30,000 to 39,000 customers, and we're bringing that number down. Mr. Young said we're right at 34,000 presently. We hope to be at in the mid to low 20s by overnight tonight. The crews are working safely and as quickly as possible to try to restore those services and those lines. We're finding damage. A lot of times in some storms, you can just refuse it and be done, but we are finding damage, and that's going to slow things down just a bit. So it requires tree trimming and equipment replacement in many cases, as well as some extensive work on the line crews themselves. So that's where we are. If you go to the next slide, please. I remind you and to remind your readers that damages may occur to the weatherhead, which is the transition point from our service drop to the house, and or to the meter socket or meter center, where the meter is actually installed at the home. If those damage has taken place, then it's on the homeowner's responsibility that an electrician be contacted and that repair be facilitated. Once that repair is done, we can fully restore the home. with power. If you want to get ahead of the game and you know you got damage, you want to go ahead and get that done, then when we go through and do our work in our sweeps, we'll be able to fully restore you. I believe that's all I have now, Mr. Young. Turn it back over to you.
Okay,
Great.
so we will move, Mr. President, we're now going to move to Brenda Young, who's the Emergency Management Director for Shelby County. Brenda?
Good afternoon, Gail, and thank you for giving us this platform to inform the public of some of the resources that are available as a result of this storm. The Shelby County Emergency Management Homeland Security Agency, we partnered with AT&T to provide charging stations for the citizens of Shelby County. And we have 3 charging stations that will be up and running until tomorrow at 8 p.m. One of the charging stations is here at my office, Shelby County Emergency Management Homeland Security Office, 1075 Mullins Station. Building C is going to be on our parking lot. We also have a charging station at the Benjamin Hooks Library, 3030 Poplar on their parking lot. And we also have another one at the Whitehaven Library at 4120 Mill Branch. Also, any customer, whether they're AT&T customer or not, they can visit any AT&T center and also have their phones devices charged. Also, Gail, for immediate assistance for our citizens of Shelby County, we have been in contact with the volunteer organization for active disasters and the crisis cleanup. If citizens will call 901-430-0995, again, that's 901-430-0995, they can receive some immediate assistance to help them with cutting fallen trees, drywall, flooring, appliance removal, tarping roofs, mold mitigation, anything that as a result of the storm. If they call that number, again, the number is 901-430-0995 to give them assistance with their storm damage. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Brenda. So we can now move, let me see if Arlenia is back on. I don't see her right now. So Brandon Richard with WMC TV has a question. Brandon.
Yes, thank you so much. I had a few questions about tree trimming. I first wanted to know how many miles of tree trimming were you able to do last year? And I understand that your contracting crews ran into some problems last year with being robbed. Do you know how many of them were robbed last year? And do you think that had an impact on the power outage that we're going through now? And lastly, what are you doing to address this issue to try to prevent it from happening this year?
Well, let me start. Alonzo can probably fill in some details. Let me just start by saying we do have really blessed to have 2 tree trimming contractors on board. Unfortunately, over the last couple of years, due to some of the issues that we've all been dealing with, COVID, and we also have had some other issues that the contractors have had in retaining workers. That's been a bit of a challenge. We have budgeted to trim, we're trying to get onto a 3-year cycle. That's part of our infrastructure improvement plan that we're trying to get on, which is about 1,400 miles of, circuit miles of distribution line. Last year, I think we were somewhere between 600 and 650 range of being able to accomplish that. And I know there were articles published about some of the robberies of tree trim crews. They took some of their equipment. I think there were some issues around a lot of that. I do not know that I can speak to as whether or not that had any impact or would have had any impact on the outcome of the storm, just due to the nature of this particular storm. But go ahead, Alonzo, if you want to address that in any.
Yeah, we did have some challenges in getting our tree trimming cycles done last year. Like I said, it was 621 miles is what I believe we got accomplished last year. So that's quite a bit short of the 1,400 miles that we hope to get done. We're working with our contractors and our purchasing and contracts department to try to improve that number. We do want to get to the 1,400 miles. I think it's important to reliability of the electric grid in Memphis. So we're working to take care of that. I don't know how many robberies there have been. I don't know if that's necessarily been the factor. There have been many factors, as Mr. Young has pointed out, keeping and being able to keep tree trimmers in this area. So, but we're working with our contractors to try to improve that.
Thank you, Alonzo. Did that answer your question? Richard, I mean,
Yes.
Brandon.
Yes.
Okay, good. Okay, so now we have a question from Kayla Solomon with Fox 13. Kayla, what is your question?
You're muted.
Sorry. So sticking with the tree trimming conversation, I know in the past couple of press conferences, you guys have given some reminders to the public about the different measurements that people need to be aware of to dispose of the tree debris and everything. Can you guys just reiterate the proper procedures for the public?
Yeah, I'd like to say, Kayla, we need to refer that. That's typically been coming from Robert Connect, the Director of Public Works for the City of Memphis. I don't want to presume upon those requirements. Did Gail, did the city person?
No, Arlenia is not on yet. She was having problems, audio
Connect.
problems.
Okay, yeah, I think
Yeah,
that,
she
I
was
think we probably, yeah, there are, and I think they may have some of this information updated on their website with the City of Memphis, but I don't want to lead folks wrong around how to separate, because he spent a lot of time talking about the proper way to handle that. So I want to make sure we get the right information out. So if you would let us try to either get that, Lillian or someone, if we can get that and maybe bring it up on the screen if that's available, that would be helpful at some point.
Is that the only question you have, Kayla?
Yeah, and also with the following up on the question that Brandon had asked as well. I know you mentioned it was about, you guys talked about this during an October City Council meeting. Is there any chance that this is going to be brought up again? I mean, ways to bring in the crews as far as the tree trimming, leading into the rest of this year and, just further the conversation a little bit more?
Well, to be clear, we have tree trimming crews here all the time. So we always have crews here working before a storm. Certainly during a storm, we need to staff up, but after a storm, of course. So we have tree trimmers that are constantly working. And so what we do each year is we budget dollars to be able to cover the cost of what we anticipate that we can do during the year, to include what we might need to do during storms. We do generally try to estimate that as well. So the cycle, what we call the cycle trim that you heard I think Alonzo talk about, we're trying to do the 1,400 miles. That's what we call it. We'd like to be on a cycle of doing that on a routine basis. And then of course there's the additional, like now, storm situations. This is not cycle trim. We're just trying to get trees out of the way so we can get those lines back up. That's a whole nother issue, but those are dollars that are all budgeted for our tree trimming. So we're going to continue to do that and do what we can to get back, as Alonzo said, caught up with where we need to be with that. And I think Lillian's going to scare. Yeah, there you go. So to your question, Kayla, this is the website that folks can go to regarding the curbside collection that was just updated, I believe, on yesterday. So it has to do with how to take care of those tree limbs and dispose of all of that, and how to separate those from other debris that you may have, customers may have, people may have in their yards. So hopefully that'll be helpful. You can direct folks to this website.
And the link is in the chat, Kayla. Thank you, Lillian, for providing us that information. Do we have any other media questions right now?
Looks like Kelly.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, Kelly.
That's okay.
I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Kelly Roberts with WMC TV.
Thank you so much. Hey, everyone.
Hello.
Quick question. I'm still getting what seems to be the message from people still without power is just some frustrations on just kind of the communications level. For example, I was wondering if I could get just more explanation on the full restoration timeline, being pushed back from Thursday to Friday. And some people are saying they're still getting texts saying that their power is restored, and then when they go home, it is not restored. So wondering why that is also still happening. I know that over the past few days, people have reported texts like that. And today they were reported once again. So just wondering if I could get some clarifications on those two, the timeline and those text messages. Thank you.
Yeah, let me take a stab at this. And Alonzo, I'm going to ask you to speak a little bit more in particular about the outage alert system. I'll try to hit on it, and maybe you can cover some more of that. As you get into any restoration process, just like with anything you do, the more you get engaged with it, the better you can predict how things will go. So we made a prediction early on based on what we knew at the time. And as we've gone through this process, we have shifted that date a little bit. I do want folks to understand that it's really important to figure that in this particular situation, again, this is not a typical storm situation. It has a lot of unique nuances in it, but I do want folks to understand that the damage we're right at about $14 million on what we anticipate the cost to be on damages here. So it's not an insignificant storm impact in terms of damages. So we're doing our best to try to estimate when we're going to be complete with the restoration. And so when we say the end of the week by midnight Friday, we are trying to tell folks this is when we believe, based on what we know today, it's Wednesday. We have not come across every situation yet. We have not inspected every particular situation where trees are down. When you heard Alonzo talk earlier about the process we're in now, believe it or not, we are still walking out in backyard lines, rear lot lines, where we have trees that you could not see from the street, that they're finding on lines as creating more challenges to get cleared. All of that to say, and we believe that we are still on target for that date. Now, as to the issue around information from the outage alert system, I think we acknowledged over the last few days, this system we've sort of rolled out relatively new, the text alert piece of our outage alert process. We are having some glitches with that, no doubt. It is adding to the frustration. The system is trying to estimate and figure out when customers are restored. When we went through that major effort the last few days to get circuits back up, which are the main lines, our outage alert system pretty much looks at that and presumes that in the area where those circuits are restored, customers are actually back on. That is not always accurate, and we know that, and we're trying to refine that to get that corrected so that customers do not get misinformation. That is actually ongoing now. But Alonzo, you want to add anything to either that or to the issue around restoration time?
We're finding a lot of damage. The storm, in fact, if you look back on our timeline, you'll see there are some days where very little progress was made during the day. And that was because as quick as we were restoring something, it was going out somewhere else. So that was a major challenge. And now that we're finding, we're continuing to work and we're finding additional damage behind the fuse tap. And that makes this effort a little bit more daunting. We do have a lot of crews. We've got 90 outside crews that are here working. There's 90 outside line crews. We supplemented that with our 25 service crews, which we mobilize in storm events, and our normal 19 to in-house crews. So we've got a lot of crews that are working. We've got troubleshooters that are out shooting trouble, trying to do an assessment. As Mr. Young has said, we have not assessed everything. We had a large number of assessment tickets to have to try to wrestle through, and we're still getting through that. We hope to have everything assessed here probably in the next 24 hours. But that's the challenge on the timeline. Now, as far as the outage alert system, when we restore a circuit, the system automatically says, okay, everybody is restored that's downstream from that circuit. That was generating a false text to many customers, and that's unfortunate. But it it does give you the latitude, I believe, in the text to say if you're still out, and we encourage customers to respond if they are still out, to put that in so we can put it back in the system. We're still working through the bugs of this. This is something that we rolled out in November. So this is an extreme stress test on a fairly new system. But we're trying to get it right, and it's going to take a little work to get there.
And just one thing to keep in mind, while we've been on this call, since we've been on this call, about 700, 800, maybe close to 1,000 customers have been restored. So restoration is ongoing, and we know we've got a long way to go. We will certainly update that date if we think something happens that we didn't anticipate, but we're trying to do our best to meet that target and try to keep the public informed, our customers informed, under what we know are very, very stressful circumstances.
So did that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Kelly. So
Hey,
I'm
this
looking
is,
at, excuse me, okay.
Oh,
Brandon, you
Daniel
had
Wilkerson.
another question?
Yeah,
Brandon?
Daniel Wilkerson, Fox 13 News. I had a question about the Berkeley Highland area. I was out there yesterday, and it seems like that area is further along in efforts than some of the other areas. There are trees across the streets. There are also a number of power lines that are down, no indication of whether they're live or not. Is that area on your radar?
Alonzo, I'm going to ask you to look into that. I do want to use this as an opportunity to make sure you remind your readers and your viewers, if you see lines down, please stay away from them. We need to treat all down lines as if they were live. As I've said before, this damage has been very extensive, and we are still finding things, just like you heard yesterday when Robert Connect was on. They still were finding trees down that they were having to deal with as late as yesterday, thinking they were going to wrap all those up today. 7 days, we're here 6 days in or 7 days in. So I say all that to say some of that damage is still out there. Please don't, be careful around those. Don't touch those. Let us know, report those so we can make sure we have it on our radar. We probably do, but in case we don't. But Alonzo, I don't know the specific area you're mentioning. I don't know if we are aware of it, but Alonzo.
Yeah, it's hard for me to say whether or not we have detailed knowledge of every area. We know we have damage throughout our system, and we're assessing the damage, and we're having damage assessment teams go out, and the troubleshooters be going out again throughout the day and the night to look at the various damage that is out there. Well, not somebody look specifically at Berkeley and Highland, but I'm pretty sure we've it's on our radars. Since customers are out, we got to figure a problem somewhere.
Yeah, and actually to Alonzo's point, the troubleshooters that are out there doing this assessment, there's always, they're 24/7. We've got troubleshooters out all day, since this has happened. So it is going on quite frequently. So, but we'll certainly look into that particular area that you mentioned. Make sure
that intersection is right at North Holmes and Powell.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so I'm looking in the gallery. So Brandon, did you have your hand up a minute ago?
No, I just forgot to take it down from earlier.
Okay, so
Yeah,
do we have?
and Andrew Ellison had a question in the chat.
Okay. Let me get that question. Okay, and Andrew Ellison with News Channel 3. Question is MLGW aware of complaints about live wires on Hudson Street? A resident tells us wires sparked a fire at 710 Hudson Street on Saturday. If so, what's being done to fix the problem? What tips, advice do you offer people who think they might have live wires down surrounding their homes?
Yeah, and I don't know if the question, if that's suggesting that we were notified on Saturday about those down, that line being down, and if that's the point, then certainly we are aware of that, and that's been put into our mix, but if there's, again, when a line is down, we don't ask anyone to try to determine whether it's live or not. Treat it as if it is live. And so even if it's insulated, even if you don't think it's electric wire, the best way to stay safe around any down lines is do not touch it, do not come in contact with it in any way. Call us, call our emergency line, report it, let us know where it is so we can log it and get someone out there to make that area safe. That's really important. So if that's been called in, and especially with that address, sounds like it may have been, but I can just say that. Alonzo, you want to add anything?
I think you covered it, Jason.
Okay.
So we just need customers to call in for emergencies such as downlines, gas leaking, pipes burst inside their homes.
We've Lillian just shared a link in the chat regarding down lines.
Okay, thank you, Lillian, for that. Okay, so are there any other hands up? I don't see any right now. So, so the information in the chat is what Lillian just put in there.
Right.
Okay. So I will go over, I have some information from the Department of Human Services, because a lot of their clients who are our customers have been impacted. So if our customers are current SNAP recipients that's experienced food loss due to the power outages, the Tennessee Department of Human Services is prepared to help with replacement SNAP benefits. Current SNAP recipients must provide a signed affidavit regarding their food loss to the department in order to receive replacement SNAP benefits. Current SNAP benefits can submit the signed affidavit online using their phone or computer by visiting a link that that we're showing right here on the screen. And or they can call 866-311-4287. That number is 866-311-4287. And the link that their SNAP recipients can go to online, we're showing it right now. And so if any of their clients have trouble submitting their affidavit online, again, they can call 866-311-4287. They do have a drop box. Due to ongoing concerns related to the COVID pandemic, the affidavit can also be printed, signed, and placed in the drop box at the local DHS office. Drop boxes are checked by DHS staff every 30 minutes. Drop boxes are secure and located in the parking areas of each DHS office. So if the clients are unable to submit the affidavit online or in the drop box, help is available at the local office, and they have a local office at 4885 Stage Road. That's 4885 Stage Road. They also have one at 6941 Winchester Road. That's 6941 Winchester Road. And that is replacement SNAP is only available to current SNAP recipients. So that's what we have from the Department of Human Services today. Brenda, did you want to say anything else before we shut down?
Yes, Gail, I want to just remind the citizens the number to call for assistance with debris removal or any repairs to your home, 901-430-0995. That's going to be the crisis cleanup hotline. And that hotline will be active until February 25th. They have until February 25th to call that number to try to get some assistance. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Brenda. Brenda is the Shelby County, let me get that right, okay. She is the Shelby County Emergency Management and Homeland Security Agency Director. So we will move to now the Chief Operating Officer and Senior Vice President at Memphis Light, Gas and Water, Alonzo Weaver.
Yeah, well, just to reiterate, we're moving through neighborhoods, working fuses and repairing damage downstream of those fuses. There'll be crews working throughout the day and the night to do that. And we'll be doing additional damage assessment throughout the next 24 hours to make sure we've put our eyes on everything. Thank you for coming to listen to us about this. I know it's a tough time for a lot of our customers, particularly those who are out now. And we know that this is very difficult for them. That's all I
Thank
have.
you. Okay, thank you, Alonzo. I appreciate that, you sharing that information. And now we will have our president and CEO, JT Young, to have some closing words.
Certainly, again, thank you all again for being with us, and I echo Alonzo's comments. I do want to reiterate our target of end of evening on Friday to be substantial, to be complete with our restoration process. I cannot say whether or not there are some customers who may have some lingering issues that may bleed over into Saturday, but I would tell you that it's certainly our goal now to meet that target. Along with what Alonzo said, I will remind everyone that this has been a long-term restoration process. If you will recall, last February, we had another winter storm incident that impacted the water system. And that's why I guess my point to make is that each storm has very different characteristics. And so we are doing our best with what we have to optimally restore this power, to make sure that we have the right folks in the right places to safely get everyone restored. And so I think we're doing that. And I know that there will be time after this is done to critique what we're doing and do something, because we can always learn how to do things better. We'll be looking for that. Thank you for your input, for the viewers who have been bringing input to you and that we can get. That's been very helpful. And we certainly look forward to continuing to take this restoration process to the next level and close this out. It's really important that our customers get back to what they need in our community. So thank you for the opportunity to be here. God bless.
Okay, so JT, I do have one other request in the chat, and that is for Brenda to repeat the times and locations for the charging stations.
Oh, okay.
Absolutely, Gil. The charging station at the Emergency Management Office, which is 1075 Mullen Station, Building C on the parking lot, from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. today and tomorrow. And of course, we will revisit this information if we think we may need to extend that until Friday. We will do that. But for right now, it's for Wednesday and Thursday. For the Benjamin Hooks Library at 3030 Poplar Avenue is also in their parking lot. The times are from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. Whitehaven Library, 4120 Mill Branch Road. The times are from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. And of course, we will revisit Thursday to determine if we need to extend it until Friday. Thank you.
Okay, so Brenda, thank you for being with us. And I just want to close by saying that our customers should not assume that we know their services are out. They must call 544-6500 and report their outage. That information will be in our system. And once it's in our system, they will be able to call that number and get updates or status updates on their outages. Also, if they download the app and go to my account and sign up for text alerts, they can get our status updates on the outage. But we need for them to either download that app, go request text alerts, or call the 544-6500 number, and they will get updates on their outage. And the emergency number that we need for our customers to call is 528-4465, 528-4465.